This week on the Rental Report Review. It carried their hopes, their nation's honor. The Train, 1964. A man who believed in war, a man who believed in nothing, and a woman who believed in both of them. Coming Home, 1978. Kung Fu champ John is given the chance to train CIA agents in martial arts by using self-hypnosis. But when he discovers the reason, he escapes and the CIA go after him. In the Claws of the CIA, 1981. Assassins are after a prostitute who has come into possession of a cigarette lighter that, unbeknownst to her, contains the negatives that show a politician's assassination. Mystère, 1983. A surreal voyage into adolescent sexuality. A real young girl, 1976.
Train.
Chat, I'm not autistic, but I think I am a bit of a train guy. I mean, trains and cinema go hand in hand, right? Even a reel of film, a timeline, is a train of sequential images. And as a former film projectionist, I can tell you that you better run your booth like a fascist. And any derailment is, let's just say, nearly 20 years later, I still have nightmares of spilled platters and brain wraps. I think maybe 3 of you just got the chills. Anyway, I have contended elsewhere that cinema is action. And for my money, John Frankenheimer is a 5th degree black belt. With no narrative warning or foreshadowing, he has the ability to 1-inch punch an extended action sequence across the screen.
They cursed it. Down with one.
Look, without spoiling, there's a ton of sabotage and duplicity in this film, but at a time, in a setting, where so much as a quick sideways glance could get you lanced. So everything has to be covert, below even the glance, behind even the sleight of hand.
Let 'em blow it up!
Frankenheimer constructs these clear passages of essentially wordless double entendre action through relational compositions, composing every story element in one frame, nearly diagrammatic inserts, and zooms.
Men of such fools.
Some of the best zooms. Anyone who thinks zooms are a lesser stand-in for dollies doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm belligerent, I've had half a Chuhi, and I'm getting over a cold. Frankenheimer and cinematographers, I'm gonna get all these names wrong, Turner and Wotsitz, and editors Bretherton and Ronier build an aesthetic, rhythmic juggernaut and lays a lot of evidence to the medium being the message.
Are you gonna get to help?
Cinema is a logistical line all the way down, from production to the editing bay, as I said above, to delivering the train of a train to the theater. Especially in the old days when you shipped tons of atoms across countries instead of transferring terabytes of bits. All of that to reflect and preserve human existence, desires, dreams, art. And sometimes you have to do everything you can to keep that from falling into the wrong hands of nihilistic death cults.
It carried them to the peak of glory.
I give The Train 1964 4.5 stars. What an ending. Okay, so yeah, this is a movie about Nazis wanting to loot France of its artistic heritage, and the group of resistance fighters, pseudo-anti-heroes, doing everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen. Not at the expense of themselves, though, of course. I don't know how I feel about the art being off-screen for so long. I mean, like 98% of the time. Even just a couple of lingering shots on the cars. I got so wrapped up in the mission that sometimes I forgot what the mission was protecting. Maybe that's the point.
It will carry you to the peak of adventure. What about my man? I don't care about your man. I order you to unload those trucks.
Save your orders for him. In this sector, the war is over.
Back into trucks. I'll have you shot.
Lancaster on fire. Even just the way he slides down a ladder or tumbles down a hill. Underrated action star? Jean Moreau. Is that how you say her name? Oh, God. Just fills the film with her presence, even in the few short scenes with Lancaster. That should probably be in the conversation with something like Casablanca.
It will carry you to the peak of adventure.
I know I am most certainly not, but I aspire to be something like a radical pacifist. Sorry, Chris's shoulder. I don't believe in just wars. Throw me a war and it's more than likely the opulent few throwing the struggling many at earthlings who have been otherized. I think this is particularly true of the American Empire in the 20th and 21st century, yet the paradox remains, war films are really fucking cool. Is there any way to make an anti-war film? Coming Home, along with two other Titanic works, The Cranes Are Flying and Gardens of Stone, are three of the most riveting home front movies I've ever seen. They're not even anti-war. Coming Home isn't even anti-war. It's a tender and surgically incisive examination of the full pulp of life. I made that one up, Lisa. What can I say? Hal Ashby with Fonda and Voight, my god, Voight, and Milford and Dern sculpt this elliptical verite Penelope's POV odyssey that concludes with a reparative embrace rather than a punch in the gut or in the chops. I mean, it ain't safe and sweet, don't get me wrong. I give Coming Home 1978 4.75 stars.
She changed when he changed.
Look, I understand and love my brothers and sisters in the armed forces. I understand the impulse and honor and the heritage. I just think more often than not that
I do not belong in this house! And they're saying that I don't belong over there!
that given trust is frequently betrayed by those who put them and all of us in danger. For what? I think that's what this film is all about. That's the question. And maybe there's no answer. There just is.
Don't tell me that, damn it!
Haskell Wexler, one of the best shooters the medium has ever seen, has ever looked through. He's known for his nighttime exteriors, but daytime exterior Manhattan Beach never looked more Manhattan Beach. Oh my god, the music. Dropping more needles than Jolly West.
On the streets of Paris, or anywhere else in the world, it makes no difference how good a fighter you are. There's no escaping the claws of the CIA.
In the Claws of the CIA, a film with too many AKAs to AKA, wastes zero time with premise or narrative foundation pouring, but builds a film and plot as the metaphor goes. They build the plane as they're flying.
Twice world champion John Liu.
This is more hyper-manic. It's not only that they're building the plane, but once they get to altitude, they just jump out of the plane and sew their parachutes on the way down, too.
Don't wait for me.
Like, how does this film exist? How is it able to find an ending? How does it make sense? Is John Liu the Ed Wood of martial arts cinema or late Terrence Malick of martial arts cinema? If you're here for anything other than some kicks and tits and dirty tricks,
Get lost, you jerks.
then you might be a little disappointed. There are plenty of jabs at the clandestine agency, but it offers little more commentary than Bond does on MI6. And also with a fraction of the mission directive-driven story riddled with femme fatales. I mean, there is kind of some of that here, but it's really just for one slobber-knocking, unconscious-kicking set piece after another.
Breathtaking, spine-chilling tension, and enough hard-hitting action to set the screen on fire in the claws of the CIA.
Yet, despite its literal monotony, remains engaging.
I haven't done anything wrong.
I think the globe-trotting helps.
I can't crawl over the border alone, like a hunted criminal.
I give In the Claws of the CIA 3.25 stars.
Let's get out of here. Come on, cut it out.
I peeped the Blu-ray intro by filmmaker and film finisher Curtis Spieler on the Vinegar Syndrome disc, and really clued in on the term vanity martial arts film. Bruce Lee really left a gaping hole in the star-driven martial arts film in the Western hegemonic canon. Say what you will about him, he was a firecracker stylist, a natural, commanding, calm presence. So you have, through this period, people still vying for that tier, that market. Liu is tremendous, as a performer, as a director, in most of his writing. Really, this film feels like he shot an outline. And it works. It's a great damn outline. Everything's there. He just needed to write it.
Hands up.
Drop that gun.
I wish it settled in more. The pace almost feels 50-50 excitement and insecurity. some of you manga heads out there, it reminded me a bit of Crying Freeman, the Koike Ikigami joints. I need to track down the film version. Dying to see how they tried to crack that in an hour and 45. Mostly the jet setting and the brainwashing and the ninja level indomitability, but it didn't paint itself in the corners.
Please,
like Koike does.
I can't stand this torture!
Mostly used fists and feet and nades to wriggle out for another day. Production value is off the charts. I mean, I know it's like 90% stolen, but I mean, no one knows that.
A motion picture that will leave you shattered in the claws of the CIA.
You monkeys are gonna pay for this!
Join us for this unique cinema adventure, if you dare. But remember, there's no escaping the claws of the CIA.
What's the Godard adage? All you need to make a film is a girl and a gun. I don't want to blow this out of proportion, but this is a solid Euro-noir pulp detective thriller. This is a newsstand novella you actually read on the flight. Train, staying on brand. Pages you turn on your daily subway commute and glance up to cast players in your own fantasy entanglement. This ain't putting on airs. It ain't pretending like it ain't putting on airs. This is pretty faces, deadly games, and narrow escapes. What more do you want? As soon as I saw Carol Bouquet was a Bond girl, it clicked right into place. Her erect, Pisa-like presence towered and pressured the film forward. What is it, pensive? And when she's with gear-adjacent Philip Cocchioletti, there's a fun synergistic chemistry that develops more than the emulsion. I give Mystère 1983 3.75 stars. I wish Carlo Vanzina went off the rails just a little more and meshed Bouquet and Cocchioletti more. I mean, they're already pretty tight, but I wanted to see more of that sexual tension and problem solving together that they talk about so often. Hong Kong. Wished it was more than just an epilogue, but it's neon hour gorgeous all the same. I never wanted a Ferrari more. Skipped a bit through Catherine Breillat's work over the last few years, and now back to her feature debut, A Real Young Girl. Not sure if that also reads as a double entendre in the original French title. Not yet fully formed as a Breillat masterwork, obviously, but absolutely arrives as a singular, confident, challenging, exciting voice, already delving into the hormonal, social, psychological, sexual turmoil, not just of coming of age, but of life, of nature, of construction. And even like her later work, Breillat is constantly exploring and questioning and never forgetting she's making a movie. Charlotte Alexandra, be still my heart. Yes, her character is underage, but I mean, come on, she's 20, 21 in this? I checked. Breillat knew what she was doing. You have to make this dangerous to work, because real life and real sex is always, on some level, dangerous. And that's also part of what makes it so exciting. And Charlotte Alexandra is a little dangerous and a little exciting, with a wanton gaze that could melt steel beams. I don't see how she didn't have a UTI the entire time. I give A Real Young Girl 1976 3.75 stars. Cinematography has some luscious, Euro-lush bliss of both the erotic and grotesque. Watch it with someone you love. This week, my weekly pick of the week is, I love a film with no simple answers. Coming Home. It's Coming Home. Maybe 4.75 stars is too low. I know I'll circle back through all of Ashby. This might be my favorite so far. Maybe even my favorite Fonda. Favorite Voight, for sure. This week's bonus feature is The Train. I don't know why there isn't enough respect on Frankenheimer's name. Tony Scott this, Ridley Scott that, Spielberg, Fincher, blah blah blah. The Man, Michael Mann. But nary a whisper for the action whisperer. Maybe there is something to Quentin Tarantino's assertion that late career fumbles muddy the waters. I guess I'll see when I get to Reindeer Games. Until next week. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram and X to see what movies I'm renting next. And pretty much everything is on my letterbox. I am going to go watch some more movies. I hope you do too. Pretty well.